Yes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. So welcome to Auntie Jackie's Diaries, a YouTube channel that I started really when I was relocating from the UK after over 30 years to Uganda. And really here, if you're new to this channel, I talk about my relocation journey. Today, I'm going to be speaking about how and I think why I relocated to the UK. And really, the journey is going to start. I was thinking about this and I thought I couldn't say how and why I relocated to the UK and what I faced, because I'm going to be talking about how I found UK when I went there without talking about my past, my history, how it started. I'm recording from my bedroom because it is very noisy outside, and I've recorded one video and deleted the noise, then so many things. So let me give this another go. This time I've tried to put things down so I don't forget. So yes, so there's a talk show host in Kenya. I can't remember what it is actually, but one of the either ministers or something was discussing how children from Kenya, particularly talking about Kenya, are being sent abroad to study, but they're struggling with how they're struggling to cope in terms of their well-being. They're lonely, they're depressed, they get into so many things, and of course, then parents here spend so much money. In Kenya, spend so much money to send them abroad. Now, that resonated with me so much, and I found that I'm stumbling. And one of the things I noticed, I don't think it's only for Kenya, but I think it's for everywhere. Anybody who sends their children abroad, these are some of the things they meet. Oh, well, this was not set up properly. That's okay now. Look at yourself before start recording. So, how it started, myself. I was born in Kabale but raised in Kisoro, a small town of Uganda, Kisoro. And I started my education from primary one. We didn't have nurseries during my time, so I didn't attend in a nursery. And by the time I went to school, I didn't like school because I think I started between 5 or 6, yeah. So I didn't like school. By the time I started, I didn't like school. In actual sense, I wanted to stay home and work in the bank because my mom owned a shop. So I would see how every time she would be going to bank money. Because I was at home, I tended to tag along. So I used to like the women behind the counters, counting money. I'm like, I want to do that job. I'm sweating. I'm going to be wiping myself with my cloth. So by the time I went to start school, I really didn't like me going to school. And that was made worse by the experience I got from the teacher. There was a teacher who had just relocated from Nairobi to Kisoro, and she was my teacher. She was called Mrs. B. I'm going to say the whole name. And for some reason, she took a dislike to me. Because even her face, I don't remember that she ever smiled at me. Honestly, she made the journey worse because I wasn't happy to go to school. I didn't want to go to school. So when I go to school, it even became worse. I remember particularly I should tell people not to, when people would get to class and say, you're not going to go to use the toilet until break time. But by the time I get to class, sometimes I would want to use the toilet, so I would hold it. And because I'm holding it and I'm focused on holding my wee, first of all, I would not focus on what she's saying, but also that I didn't like being there. I was scared of her. I was petrified of her. And she used to really, really whip me so bad. And because of all that, I would end up waiting myself. 5-year-old waiting, 5, 6-year-old waiting herself. I would end up waiting myself. And of course, you can imagine how that would do. She'd make fun of me in the class and also whip me more. So that made really, really bad. So I remember one day she whipped me so much that my ear really went buzzing. And for some reason, for quite a long while. No, she didn't whip me. She put a pen in my ear. Yeah, she put a pen in my ear. Goodness me, that was child abuse. Anyhow, within the P1, one particular girl started bullying me, and she would come every term, like, you know, in a term. It was three months in a term. I would spend, like, in a term, I would spend about a month going to school and not speaking to anybody in my class because of this particular girl. She had so much influence, and I don't know how, but she'd get the whole class not to speak to me, and I would literally be there by myself. So from the teacher being horrible, from me not wanting to get to school because I wanted to work in the bank, to now being bullied by this girl. And the bullying really went on until until P5, beginning of P5. That's class 5. So from P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. It went on for that long. So, yeah, that period actually, I thought I'd have overcome it, but every time I think about that, I'm like, oh my goodness me, I feel so bad for the 5-year-old me, the 6-year-old me. And that actually went, you know, dented my confidence so much. And I remember that sometimes, because we used to live in the same village, when we were not friends, I couldn't walk with them. I would have to walk by myself. So in the morning, I'll wake up, walk by myself. They keep telling me that my distance from my school, from where I used to live to school, is not 5 miles. But for me, it seems as if it's 5 miles. And anyway, even if it's not 5 miles and it's 3 miles, I would be there working by myself, going to school by myself. And this girl that was bullying me, the people that used not to be my friends, we are all in the same community. So if I'm not friends with them at school, I'm not going to be friends with them at home. So really, my childhood there wasn't, you know, outside wasn't good. Home was okay, but outside wasn't good at all. I didn't like it. It made me really hate school. Fast forward, we moved. But before we moved, the time of P5, I don't know what changed. Oh, I know what changed. She came, and I can't remember what happened, and she beat me. We fought. I put up a fight, but she was so strong. She beat me. She was even older than me, but we're in the same class. But she beat me. She beat me bad. So what happened? Because again, like I said, in the community, you know, at home, these are the only people I would play with, and because I had there was no other girl at home. It was only boys. I was the oldest I was among the boys. So that particular day, it was a Friday when she beat me. I went home by myself. I told my brother. He didn't do anything, and that really, really, you know, it hurt me because I thought he didn't defend me anyhow. So I went home, and on a Saturday morning, I could hear them playing. I had things like dolls and books, but I wanted to play with, you know, with other people. I could hear them playing, and you can't believe what I did. I went to her, I said, "Oh, can I come and play?" She said yes. On a Monday morning when we went to school, we went together, and everybody said, "What? Jacqueline and this girl are together?" And everybody couldn't believe it. And for some reason, that put a change in me, because I felt like, how low can you get? How can somebody beat you this bad? Somebody came, and the phone had to go off. So, restarting my conversation. So, I think I was where it says P5 when this girl bullied me and beat me. Then I asked her if I can be friends with her again on a Saturday in the morning. And Monday morning, we went to school together, and everybody was like, oh my goodness, not everybody, like the children, like, oh my goodness me, I can't believe you're friends with this girl again after she beat you. When after that instant, I stayed friends with her. But I resolved that somehow I made a resolution which I couldn't understand. Now, a few weeks later, she came back to me and said she didn't want to be my friend. And I walked off. And as it is, I went to class and I knew that nobody would talk to me. And I went in and I did not speak to anybody. Because I knew they're not going to speak to me. Because every time I'd go there sheepishly, look down and feel so bad. This time I went there and I didn't speak to anybody. And we used to sit boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. And in the previous times when she would say, don't speak to nobody should speak to me, even the boy next to me, even if I would ask him something, he would answer very, like, not in a willing way. Went to class, did what I was doing, and got out of class, and I went to the P4s who were younger than me, and so I said, oh, do you mind if I join? And they were so happy. I said, yeah, join. And I felt that they liked me for who I am. I don't know if because I was a bit older than them, but all of them came around, we became friends. So that was it. From that day, I stopped being friends with her and with all the girls in that class. But another thing that was very bizarre but different, the boys didn't stop talking to me. They kept talking to me. And I remember actually even there was a play that we had to do at the end of the year, and they all did a play, and they didn't include me, but I wasn't going to join. And it was my last play in that school. I went and we did a play in P4. We did everything, like proper costumes and everything. And that was my happiest time in that school ever. Another thing, I was never the best at school. I was like never the first. I wasn't the last either, but I was always medium. And I was always poor at maths. You know, I would even get 10%. I was always poor at maths. So we were doing a maths test. And because I was poor at maths, I used to finish quickly because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was just wondering, how come other people are writing? What are they writing? Anyhow. Very poor at maths and one of the best at English, which was very weird. Anyhow. But those were my last memories of that school, which it's such a shame I didn't like it. But when we moved to Demo, which is another school in Kabale, and that was my best years. I had a good time there, never bullied, because I went resolute that I'll never be bullied, and I was never bullied there. Then from there, I had to go secondary school after 2 years. I had a choice, 3. Could either go to King's College Budo, Kampala, Maryhill, Mbarara, or no, King's College Budo, Kampala, or Maryhill, Mbarara. My dad refused. He said, you're not going to go to King's College Budo. And I'm like, okay. So my mom said, okay, you go to Maryhill. So I was on my way to Maryhill on a Friday or Saturday, one of the 2 days, Friday or Saturday. I think it was either Friday or Saturday, I can't remember the day. So I was to go to Maryhill the following day. And my uncle, who is a priest, was taking me. My mom's cousin was taking me. And in Uganda, your mom's cousin is your uncle, not your first cousin, not your second cousin. So we call them uncles here. Not second cousin. So my uncle was taking me, and he came at night. I remember he came at night, and I had already packed to go to Maryhill. And he goes, no, she's not going to go to Maryhill. There's another school, which is called Bishop Comboni College. It's in Kambuga. It's the village. It's in the bush. It's a very good school. She'll do very well there. I heard him telling my mom, and I cried. I said, I cried. Because I couldn't say, no, I'm not going to go. I cried the whole night. Woke up in the morning, we went, and my mouth was from here to Karamoja. It was, didn't speak in the car. We went there, my mom took me there, and yeah, so I started my journey at Comboni, which I didn't like, and they, he really, the school was not bad. He said they feed the children very well, and we ate very, very well. The education was very good. It was very good. We had facilities. The sleeping was very well. There was nothing wrong with the school. Just because I wanted to go to Maryhill, where some of my friends had gone, or to Budo, which was like, you come from a village. You don't want to go back to a village in a boarding school. You want to go to a town. And because I'd seen people who had come from Budo or Maryhill and everything, the way they would be speaking and talking, I wanted that. Tell me to go to the village. So I went there without wanting the school. Another experience of not wanting school. And I think because I didn't want it, I really jeopardized it. So in Komboni, when I went there, I felt I experienced difficulty with girls as well. Again, you know, we can be quite bitchy, we can be quite, you know, too sensitive and, you know, picking up on this and this and this. So I used to enjoy company of boys. Is it because maybe I was the only girl with the boys for many years? Could be. Anyhow, so I was expelled from Komboni. I was happy I was expelled, but I knew that I was going to get in trouble with my mom, not even with my dad. Guess what? My mom didn't do anything. When she saw the reason, she didn't do anything. I was like, okay. And then, you know, and my dad was like, she will not go back. I was like, okay. So they put me in another school in Nabingo, now a city school. I was like, wow. Nabingo again was brilliant. What Nabingo lacked in terms of food and education, I received self-motivation because it was every man for themselves. If you want to study, you study. If you don't want to study, you don't study. But honestly, the children there were so dedicated. You know, nobody would force you to go to preparation, to preps, you know, to read and everything. But kids were always there doing very well. So it gave me that motivation of working for yourself and doing things for yourself. That even when I went to the UK, it's something I took with me. I got from there. We finished my my O-levels on a Friday. Saturday morning, I was on the plane to the UK. I didn't know I was going. Nobody had prepared me. I went to the UK. I had relatives there, and I went to relatives. The time I was there, and you know, there was a plan for me to go to sixth form there. I did go for some interviews, but eventually, after about 6-7 months, there wasn't enough money for me to study abroad, so I had to come back to Uganda. So I came back to Uganda, but I came towards the end of now people who had joined S5, like sixth form, you know. So I came towards the end of that year, and I joined Deje Secondary School. Among my schooling, wherever I schooled from when I was in primary until I finished, I enjoyed myself in Deje because I felt I was more mature. There was not a lot of like bitchiness. I enjoyed Deje so much, and being friends with boys was not a problem. You know, it was okay. I enjoyed Deje. I loved Deje. Yes, but again, like I told you, in terms of my education, I was never academically gifted in that sense. You know, I wasn't somebody who would be able to get A stars. No, I was always middle, if not sometimes like in Deje, I was really low. I didn't do anything much. But the two things that happened in Deje, because I knew I was going back to the UK after I finished my sixth form to do college in UK, I really didn't put any effort in. I was like, no, after I'm going. So when I left Deje, again, the same thing. I left Deje Friday. I did not know when I was going to go, but I knew I was going. So I left Deje on a Friday. On a Saturday, I was due to fly out to go to UK. The plane left me, and the following Saturday, I went to the UK. So I stayed in the UK from then until I came back now to relocate back to Uganda. I used to come and visit here and there, but that has been the journey. So when I went to the UK the second time, I don't know what was it. I don't know if it's because I knew it was final or because I knew what UK was like. I don't know. There was so much loneliness and sadness. I didn't like it. I was so sad. I was so lonely. And I would cry to my mom all the time. I said, Mommy, this is so bad. I want to come back. And she'll tell me, I'll get a ticket and bring you back. And I'll say, no, let me try again. Let me try again. So I would speak to her. She would tell me to come, but then I would refuse. I would decline to go back. So I stayed. And my stay in the UK hasn't been, it wasn't good. It wasn't easy in terms that I had to go to college. I wanted to do secretarial, but relatives said, "Oh no, you're so angry, you can never do secretarial." But the anger, I knew that I used to be I could be angry, but I knew that the anger was coming from when I was young. My experience when I was young was not easy, so I think I developed that anger in me. Yes, I was doing it, but I think nobody ever asked me, why is this girl angry? Because I think nobody's born angry, but nobody ever asked me that. Anyhow, so the experience wasn't very good at all. The first year when I went to the UK, I worked as a nanny, as a childminder, as I looked after children, and I was paid. So the money that I earned that year paid for my school fees the next year. But after that, my mother was due to pay. And I knew what my mother would have to go through to pay for my school fees in the UK. It would be so much money. So I told her, "Oh, no, don't worry, mommy. I'll work and I'll pay." And I did work. But I did back-breaking work. Because what job could I do as a young early 20s girl? Menial job. So I did some menial job. I used to work in a care home, in a nursing home to be specific, for elderly people who are really, really poorly. So they couldn't support themselves. And at the time, we didn't have things like lifting aids, like hoists and all that. No. We used to use our bare physical hands, not like physical hands, but like bare strength, using like a bed sheet. And the people who trained me, were not the best. They said, "Oh, you're very strong, lift," and I would lift. Sugar girl, I would lift. But that came with consequences. And it wasn't, I met a lady from Uganda. She's a Uganda lady. She goes, "My daughter, please don't. You're gonna break your back. You haven't had children yet. You struggle. Don't do it." But it was about after a year or two, and it was too late. My back had gone. So, experience that, that was it. And even throughout the working, you'd meet so many people who would be so mean. Of course, I'd never worked, and I didn't know how to relate in the work situation. So I was thrown in at the deep end, in terms of working outside of a relative's home. So it wasn't easy. I've struggled with it. I struggled with loneliness. I struggled with sadness. And I struggled to fit in terms of who I was. To the point that I even faked an accent. "Oh, hi, I'm Jacqueline. What is your name?" Try to speak like them as if I can. But I remember one day, a little cousin of mine came to UK to visit, and I was just trying to fake the accent. Goes, "Oh, Jack, you're fake." Children can see people through. Anyhow, it wasn't until I had my children that I said, "You know what? I am who I am." And the sadness and loneliness left. The struggles continued, financial struggles, social struggles, but the actual deep down sadness left. Yes, and really, I don't make this too long. I'll put up another one. I don't know if it's even making sense. If it is, please let me know. If you've got any questions, kindly ask, and then I can answer them. But just to sum up, just like how the talk show host was saying in that clip I saw from Kenya, yes, there was sadness, there was depression, and I didn't have a lot of guidance. By the way, I didn't, and I ended up in difficult situations. Having said that, I didn't get the advice that a parent would give to a child. I didn't, because I used to show a different side to my mom. It wasn't until years later that she came. She goes, "Goodness me, you never went to school. You're doing just menial jobs. You can't. You have to have a qualification." No, but I had hidden all that from her. So yes, so some of us, when we go to think when we go abroad, if we have no strong support, either from home or from where we are, and there's no like funds to pay, because within the first year when I was working, when I was going to college and my school fees was being paid, I didn't work so much. I would work on the weekends, but not so much. But the day that I told my mom I can make it, and she believed me, and there was no reason for her not to believe me, because I think she could have seen other people's children doing it, I would work, not go to school, and I did a course which I didn't like. I did fashion design. I am no fashion designer. I don't know how to plan. I wasn't good. So I did that job, did fashion design, and I just got a diploma, and I've never used it. So if one has no social support, enough financial support, really you can end up in difficulties. And I made wrong choices, but God is so gracious that I really never went a slippery road and stayed there. I never did. But there's some choices out there and friends I was making just for me to feel wanted, to feel that space of loneliness. And some of the decisions, of course, have got a lasting fix up to now, and they have led me to where I am now. But still, thank God that I'm here I am. And just to say that, in my school time, Dej was the best school. And I recently visited Dej again after over 30 years. It has changed. The children are so eloquent. They are so, oh my goodness me, the school has grown leaps and bounds from what I left. Yes, so I'll put up a clip of what happened when I went there as well, so you can see what I got up to. But yeah, that's it. I think I'll put up some more of my life in the UK, how I found it, you know, the culture shocks, you know, language barriers, and like, you know, I'll go and say things like I'm going to see the nurse. They say, nurse? What is a nurse? I'm like, you know, the one who works with the doctor. Oh, you mean a nurse? I'm like, yes, nurse. Anyway, my family, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this recording. If you really have, kindly do subscribe. For my returning subscribers, thank you. We are growing very slowly. I do appreciate you, honestly. Thank you very much. Otherwise, take care. Blessings and blessings. God bless. Bye for now. Bye-bye.